Do you guys see that? I want you to see that. Do you see that? It's important to me that you can see that right here. Hi guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another video. And no, this was not just only a show off. This was actually, it had something to do with the topic of the video I'm doing today. And we are drawing arms. I was doing anatomy studies as earlier as well. You can find the sources and the articles before on Coil and Cinnamon also. And we are like putting our focus on the upper arm and the lower arm. And the point is that before I was always drawing arms just from like, okay, what do I see on my reference, for example, and from my experiences from the references when I was inventing arms, I was just trying to remember those. I would say in hindsight that's a mistake, because you draw arms way more better when you know actually the anatomy. You don't have to know every single muscle. But you have to know the muscle groups which you can see on the surface, like directly under your skin. You have to understand how muscles work, what are their function, and that's also why I was showing this. Like, of course, you know that the biceps, for example, is to lift your lower arm. Did you actually know that the biceps has another muscle underneath it which also supports it? So there are two muscles. And also, did you know that for twisting your arm, the biceps is also partially responsible? So also, when you know the muscles, you also have to decide like, okay, in which position is the arm, and therefore which muscles are active and which ones are relaxed. So should I do like more bulky version of the one and like a relaxed version of the other one? Because you always have to think in pairs. Like, you have a protagonist and an antagonist. Like for example, if your biceps is flexed, then the triceps is relaxed on the back. So you know, when this one is bulky, this one cannot also like be sticking out. It has to be like a softer shape. So I just repeat, know the anatomy, know the function of a muscle, know the pairs, like protagonist, antagonist, and this will greatly help you drawing anatomy in general, and in this video specifically arms. So let's jump right in. Okay, so let's jump right in. I'm not explicitly like going into the details of every single drawing, and if I wanted to do even, then I would have to talk way too fast to follow what I'm actually drawing. So just relax, look at the way I am building up all these muscles around the arms, and I'm just gonna tell you something in general. As already pointed out in the beginning, the best way of studying anatomy are the sources I already told you in the earlier articles. For example, there is like a very good figure drawing and also other types of drawing courses on proko.com. It is proko.com. With a guy who is like really funny and does it in a really nice way as a professional, and he's well known in the scene. So check that one out. Excuse me. And there's a book there are several books actually. One particular is Figure Drawing, Design and Invention, written and drawn by Michael Hampton. And there is this Disney animator, Aaron Blaise, who does anatomy courses. And there is another book, I don't have its name right now. I'm gonna write that down in the article. I don't consider myself an expert. I think I'll show you these videos on my process of learning. I don't think I ever will be finished learning, because there's always something new to learn. Because you always go one step deeper into the details. And oops, that's my computer. Goodbye. And first of all, you basically also need to understand is that the arm and like all the muscles are not symmetrical. Like when you look at it, it does not have bulges on both sides of your outline at the same position, you know, because that will make it look like a sausage. Like all the muscles are wrapping around your arm, around your body, around your legs, everything is highly asymmetrical, and this also gives your artwork some sort of, like, of course, realism, but also a dynamic. And you need to understand this asymmetry to reproduce it in the right way. A muscle itself, it has, of course, a head with its fibers, and it has tendons, and with these tendons it is connected to its origin and its insertion. And the size of the head and the length of the tendon is always different. Like all the people can have a different length of tendons, for example. And yeah, you need, when you invent something, you can in fact decide if you want your character, your figure, be having long tendons or short tendons. I was told that people with long tendons tend to have a more elegant appearance because the muscles to tendons is more like S-curvy, but I think that's a subjective perspective. And the muscle, in fact, can only do one thing, and that is contract. So let's talk about the biceps, for example. When it contracts, it brings the lower arm up, and when you cannot like actively relax it. What you do is that you flex the antagonist, which is the triceps, and is on the back side of the arm. So when you want to bring your arm down again, you flex the triceps, and as a consequence, your biceps relaxes again. So there are always these two pairs I was talking about in the introduction. And but bones are not everything. You also need to understand where the bones are underneath. It's a philosophical question if you should study art from the inside out or the outside in. As I told you, like in the past, I was rather doing it from reference and trying to get an understanding from it. So that would be first from outside in, but I learned way more when I really made a deep dive, and this deep dive happened to like I was starting from inside out, first learning the skeleton, the bones, and then you can understand where do these several muscles connect, where's the insertion, where's the origin, and then therefore you also can deduct the function of it. The names of the muscles, they are always Latin, and it's really hard to remember them, and it's not a damage to your knowledge if you learn the names. For drawing it, you don't need to know the names. If you want to talk about it with others, it would be better if you know them. And the names can be sometimes helpful, that they're exactly telling you what you're doing, like flexor or extensor, for example. But sometimes it can be also really confusing, because, for example, biceps, like bi means two, ceps means head, so two heads. So far so good. But there is a long head and a short head of the biceps, and the long head in fact is shorter than the short head, and that doesn't really make sense. Then what also is interesting to know is that whenever you have wrinkles in your skin because of the flexion of flexing the muscles, it's always perpendicular to the fibers of your muscle. So this is also a good help. And this fact that when you know where the insertion is, not depending on the position of the arm, since you know the skeleton, you exactly always know where you should draw the muscle from. A really big challenge still is, even when you know the function of the muscle and you know where it originates, there is still the fact that that you don't know exactly from the perspective you're looking at it how it wraps around the other muscles or the bone. This is why practicing is so important, that you finally understand like how it wraps around. Or there are 3D models of, for example, arms, where you can see how it wraps, and from every single perspective how it actually looks. So that's tricky. And back to the arm, what we were drawing, like the upper arm consists of the deltoid, which I'm drawing right now. In fact, I was drawing it here like almost symmetrical, but it's asymmetrical. It tends to twist a little bit forward. I didn't like put that into the drawing which you're seeing right now, but in the future drawing I will. And the deltoid ends between the triceps and the wingman of the biceps, let me say so. Because I already told you, you have the biceps, you know where it is. Underneath there is another muscle which is supporting the biceps, which actually helps to, when you flex the biceps, so it stands more out. And here you're seeing that I'm kind of changing the deltoid exactly due to the fact that it twists to the front a little bit, and this makes it look way more better, way more realistic. Yeah, you have like the biceps, the muscle underneath it, and then the triceps on the back. And then already underneath the biceps start, like when you're looking from the lateral side on it, start the so-called ridge muscles. And the ridge muscles, it starts on the lateral epicondyle of your elbow, and it wraps around your arm and connects on the rather palm side of your thumb. So on the lower arm you see a lot of twisting, like those muscles, they twist around your lower arm. And if you are just drawing hoses which are like in parallel to your arm, then this just looks wrong and it doesn't represent reality. Besides those things I was telling you, it's really important for me that you also understand that the knowledge you are getting from learning anatomy gives you also an idea where like the landmarks are. Landmarks are important positions at the arm which are helping you to orientate where which muscle is, where which bone is, and from there you can go and like connect all the different parts. This was a short video explaining like what my learning process about arms was. I hope it really helps you to increase your process of learning, getting better to draw, and take a look really at the sources. They helped a lot to get better. So I'll see you in the next video. I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, see ya.